It started slowly. My daughter, only 3 years old, began crying in the middle of the night. At first, I thought it was normal. Children cry sometimes. They have bad dreams. They wake up scared. But this was different. Every night, at exactly 2:12 a.m., she would wake up screaming. Not just crying, but screaming like something was hurting her. It was sharp, wild, and full of fear. The kind of scream that chills your blood. I took her to the doctor. The pediatrician said it was night terrors. It's common in young children, he told me. She'll grow out of it. But I've seen night terrors before. This wasn't the same. She wasn't flailing or confused. She was awake, alert, staring at the same corner of her room, pointing and shouting, "Get it out. Get it out of the floor." Her little finger always pointed to the same spot, just under her crib. I checked under it. I checked in the walls. I even thought maybe there were rats or something crawling through the house at night. I hired pest control. They found nothing, not a single trace of animals or insects. Still, every night at 2:12, it happened again. Then one night, something changed. I went in at 2:11, just before it usually started. I sat in the dark with her, holding her hand. At 2:12, her body went stiff. Her eyes opened wide and locked onto the corner. But this time, she didn't scream. She didn't make a sound. Her mouth didn't move at all. But I heard something. I had placed a second baby monitor under her crib earlier that day. I wanted to see if maybe the floor was making noise, or if I could hear something strange. What I heard will stay with me forever. From the monitor came a man's voice, soft and broken. He whispered, "She sees me. Please, I don't want to go back down." Then there was a loud thud, like something heavy had dropped, then scratching. Long dragging scratches like nails down wood. Then something worse, a sound like bones cracking, not breaking, but bending in ways bones should never bend. I ran into the room, grabbed my daughter and ran out. I didn't even grab shoes. We stayed with my sister for the night. The next day, I returned with tools. I ripped up the floor beneath the crib. I had to know what was under there. What I found wasn't on the house plans. There was a crawl space, small, dark, and hidden. It smelled awful, like wet soil, rotting wood, and something worse. The kind of smell that makes your stomach turn. Inside, I found claw marks on the wooden beams, deep scratches that looked like they were made by something strong. I also found hair stuck between the boards. It was thick, coarse, and not human. I sealed the floor, nailed it shut, poured salt and even holy water on it. I don't know why. I just felt like I had to. Then I moved my daughter's crib into my room. I didn't want her near that spot again. For a few nights, things were quiet. We slept with the lights on. I barely slept at all. I just watched her, waiting for 2:12 to come. Nothing happened. Then last night I woke up at 2:11. She was already awake, sitting up in the crib, staring at the closet. She whispered. I told him no. My skin went cold. But he said you weren't listening. Right then, the closet door creaked open by itself. No wind, no movement. It just opened. I jumped out of bed and grabbed her. She started screaming again. Don't let it go back in the floor. That's when I heard it. A loud thump beneath my bed. Something was down there. Something big. I ran. I didn't look under the bed. I didn't look back. We went to a hotel. Now every night at 2:12, I hear it again. First, a whisper, soft and close. But it's not the man's voice anymore. It's mine. It whispers in my voice. Sometimes it says, help me. Sometimes it says, she belongs with me. Sometimes it just laughs. I brought in a priest. He blessed the house. I brought in a psychic. She walked out after 5 minutes. She said there was something ancient in the crawl space, something that had been there long before the house was built. It's not a ghost, she said. It's something else. I didn't know what that meant, but I believed her. I tried to sell the house, but no one wants it. Even the realtor said there was bad energy. So we stay at hotels, or my sister's place, anywhere but there. But I think it's following us now. Last night we stayed at a hotel across town. A new place, clean and quiet. At 2:12 a.m., the alarm clock fell off the nightstand by itself. My daughter didn't scream this time. She just looked at me and said, "He found us." She's only 3. She shouldn't talk like this. This morning, I found claw marks on the hotel room carpet, just beneath the bed. I don't know what it wants. I don't know how it knows our names. I don't even know if it was ever human. But I know one thing. It's not finished with us, and now it knows where I sleep. It was 1991. I was 16 years old. My aunt, my mom's sister, had just died. It was a sad time for everyone in my family. She was the first of my mom's siblings to pass away. My mother cried a lot. Everyone seemed shaken. There was something in the air that I couldn't explain. It was heavy, like a thick fog that followed us. We buried her a few days later. It was a small, quiet funeral. After the funeral, the family came to our house for the wake. Our house was big and open, and my parents thought it was the best place for everyone to gather and remember her. That day, many people came in and out. Some stayed for hours, some just a few minutes. There was food on the kitchen table, coffee brewing all day, and family sitting around, sharing stories about my aunt. People laughed, cried, and hugged. It was one of those rare times where joy and sadness lived in the same room. At around 1 p.m., something strange happened. I was sitting at the table with a few of my uncles. They were telling old stories about their sister, making jokes, even smiling. I was quiet, just listening. Then I saw something. Through the curtain that covered the front door, I saw a shadow. It looked like a person walking up to the door. The curtain wasn't thick, and the glass behind it was large. It wasn't hard to see the shape of someone behind it, a clear human shadow. I got up from the table and walked to the door, thinking it was another guest. Maybe someone had come late or was just arriving. I opened the door. No one was there. I stepped outside. I looked around. Our driveway was empty. No cars, no people. The yard was quiet, the air still. I even walked out a bit to check if someone had walked away or gone around the side of the house, but there was no one. I stood there for a moment, heart beating a little faster. I wasn't scared yet, just confused. I closed the door and went back inside. I didn't tell anyone. It felt wrong to talk about ghosts at a wake. People were crying, remembering the dead. I didn't want to sound like I was making fun of it. Still, I couldn't forget what I saw. That clear shadow, the way it moved, like someone walking with a purpose, like they belonged there. After that day, things began to change. It didn't happen all at once. It started with little things. My dad would say he heard footsteps upstairs late at night. He'd go up and find nothing. The floorboards creaked like someone was walking slowly, step by step, but no one was ever there. My mom had a musical jewelry box that she kept on her dresser. It hadn't worked in years. One night, it opened by itself and played a short tune, just a few notes, then stopped. She thought maybe it was just old or something shifted in the room. She didn't think too much of it at first. One weekend, my mom was babysitting my little cousin. She was only 2 years old. We were all in the living room. I was sitting on the floor, playing with some toys with her. Suddenly, she looked over my shoulder and pointed at the stairs behind me. "There's a man," she said. I turned quickly but saw nothing. "What man?" my mom asked. "He's all black," my cousin said. "He's walking up the stairs." My mom and I just looked at each other. Neither of us said anything. My cousin didn't seem scared, just curious, like she was talking about someone normal. But there was no one there. No sound. No shadow. Nothing. After that, more things began to go missing. My dad's belt disappeared for 3 weeks. We searched the whole house. Then one day, it was just there, hanging neatly on the back of the bedroom door. My mom swore she checked there a dozen times before. The same thing happened with her keys, my shoes, even a book I was reading. Strange things, small things, but they added up. Still, no one got hurt. No one ever felt anything evil. But we all knew something wasn't right. There was a presence in that house. It didn't show itself clearly, but it was there, watching, listening, moving through the rooms when no one was looking. I finally told my parents what I saw that day during the wake. The shadow at the door. My mom listened quietly. My dad just nodded. Neither of them thought it was my aunt. They didn't believe it was her ghost. But they both believed there was something in that house. Something that had been there since that day. Years went by. The strange things continued from time to time, but we lived with it. We tried to ignore it. In 1996, we moved out. The house was beautiful. A 2-story home with a big porch, 2 acres of yard, and trees all around. It was in a quiet neighborhood, close to good schools and shops. A perfect place to raise a family. But we left it behind. We needed something new, somewhere peaceful. After we moved, we still drove past it sometimes. At first, it looked like someone had bought it. We saw lights on, a car in the driveway, curtains in the windows, even signs that someone was fixing it up. But then everything stopped. The curtains stayed the same. The car disappeared. The lights never came on again. The lawn grew wild. The paint on the windows started to peel. It looked like someone had planned to live there, then just walked away. That house is still empty to this day. No one lives there. Sometimes people stop by and look at it. A few times, I saw a for sale sign go up. Then it was gone again. Like no one could stay there for long. I've had dreams about it. I see myself walking through the rooms. They are empty, but I hear whispers. I feel something behind me. In the dream, I never look back. Sometimes I wonder, was it really the shadow of a person that day? Or was it something else? Something that came in when the door was opened. Maybe it was never meant to be seen. Maybe it just needed a reason to show itself. People say ghosts are just memories, energy that doesn't know how to leave. But I think some things are more than that. Some things are not from our world at all. There was no evil in that house, but there was something strange, something that didn't want to be known, but still made itself known in small, quiet ways. And now, every time I drive past that house, I still look at the front door. Sometimes, just for a second, I think I see a shadow behind the curtain, like someone is still trying to come inside, or maybe they never left. The house is silent now, but I know better. It's not empty, not really. When I was a kid, I used to stay home alone a lot. My dad worked late. He didn't come home until 10 at night. We lived far from town in a quiet rural area. Our house was surrounded by trees, fields, and darkness. We only had 2 neighbors, and they lived far away. Most nights, it was just me in the house. I didn't think much of it. I liked watching TV and playing games, and I felt safe. Until one night changed everything. I was 13 years old when it happened. It was a regular evening. I had finished my dinner and was lying on the couch watching TV. The house was quiet, except for the noise of the television. I had a cordless phone next to me, just in case. My mom didn't live with us, but I often called her when I was bored or scared. The phone was my comfort. It was already dark outside. The wind made soft sounds against the windows, and the trees rustled like they were whispering secrets. But I didn't think about it. I was focused on my show. The couch was soft, the blanket warm, and everything felt normal, until the TV suddenly went black. Just like that. 1 second, I was watching a cartoon, and the next second, the screen turned off. Then came the static. Loud, sharp, buzzing static. The sound filled the room and seemed too loud for a TV. I sat up and looked at the screen, confused. This had never happened before. Sometimes the signal would cut for a few seconds, but not like this. Not this loud. I thought maybe the cable had gone out. I waited on the couch, hoping it would fix itself. I didn't want to move. The noise was annoying, but I was used to being alone. I tried not to panic, but as I stared at the screen, my eyes drifted across the room. In the dining room, across from the couch, there was a mirror. It was an old mirror. My dad said it had belonged to my grandmother. I had seen it every day, but that night it looked wrong. In the mirror, I saw something floating. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but I kept staring and it didn't go away. It was red. It was round. It looked like a human skull. Blood red. Floating in the mirror. Just hanging there like it was watching me. I froze. My whole body turned cold. My hands started to shake, and I couldn't breathe right. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to blink. I thought, maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe I fell asleep. But I was awake. I was wide awake, and that thing was still in the mirror. The skull didn't move. It just floated there, bloody and horrible, like it had been ripped from someone's body and now lived inside that mirror. I finally forced myself to reach for the phone. I needed to call my mom. I needed to hear her voice. I needed to tell someone what I was seeing. I picked up the phone and held it to my ear. Nothing. No sound. No dial tone. Just silence. I checked the buttons. I pressed the talk button again. Still nothing. The phone was dead, but the lights were on in the house, so it couldn't be the power. The phone should have worked. It always worked. My heart pounded in my chest. I started to cry, but no tears came. I just sat there, the loud TV static buzzing in my ears, the phone dead in my hand, and the bloody skull floating in the mirror. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't look away from the mirror, but I also couldn't move. I kept hoping the TV would turn back on. I kept praying that the skull would vanish. I told myself it was my imagination, that it wasn't real. But it felt real. It looked real. And I had never felt fear like that before. The room was cold, but I was sweating. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. Then, after what felt like forever, something changed. Light. Headlights. They shined through the front windows of the house. I saw them move across the wall, and I knew it had to be my dad. He was home. Finally. Relief rushed through me so fast I almost cried. The headlights didn't just light up the room. They made everything feel safer, more normal. As soon as the lights hit the walls, the TV flicked back on. No static. No noise. Just cartoons again, like nothing had happened. I looked back at the mirror. The skull was gone. I blinked and looked again, just to be sure. Nothing. Only my reflection staring back at me. Pale and wide-eyed, but alone. No floating skull. No blood. No horror. My dad opened the door and walked in. I wanted to run to him, but I was still too scared to move. He looked at me and said, "Hey, everything okay?" I didn't know what to say. I just nodded. After he went to the kitchen, I picked up the phone again. I pressed the talk button. This time, I heard the dial tone, the normal beep. The same sound I heard every day before making a call. It worked. It was like nothing had happened. But I knew what I saw. I knew what I felt. That fear was real. The silence on the phone was real. The TV going to static was real. And the thing in the mirror, whatever it was, had been real too. That night, I couldn't sleep. I left the lights on and stayed in my room with the door locked. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the red skull. I didn't know what it wanted. I didn't even know if it saw me, but it was there, and I couldn't forget it. Over the years, I told this story a few times. I even shared it online in a group once. Some people said I was dreaming. Others thought it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but I don't think so. I remember it too clearly. The way the air felt, the noise of the static, the silence of the phone, the feeling of being watched. That wasn't a dream. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in the paranormal. I always try to find logical answers. Maybe it was a power surge. Maybe the phone had a battery issue. Maybe the mirror reflected something strange. But none of those things explain what I saw. They don't explain the bloody skull. I never saw anything like that again. The mirror stayed in the dining room for years, but I stopped looking at it. Eventually, my dad got rid of it. He didn't know why. I didn't tell him the full story until I was older. But he said he felt weird about it. Said it gave him a bad feeling. I wonder if maybe it had always been there. If the mirror was more than just a mirror. Maybe it held something inside. Something old. Something angry. Something that wanted to be seen. But why that night? Why only once? I don't know. All I know is, I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't half asleep. I wasn't confused. I was wide awake. And for a few minutes, I saw something I still can't explain. Something that still visits me in nightmares. Something I hope never shows itself again. People like to say kids have wild imaginations, that they make things up. But sometimes, kids see things adults don't. Maybe because we're not always trying to explain it away. Maybe because the truth is too scary for grown-ups. If you like the video, please give it a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.